Hello everybody, welcome back to Museum Madness. I sort of got the sound to work. You can hear two steps. Usually you can hear like every step you take, but took two steps and then just sort of stopped. Something's up with that. Anyway, let's get started. We're gonna go over, I think what we'll do is we'll do like 5 of these. We'll do like all the way across here. So let's go ahead and man, I don't know. Some of these are really fun, some of them kind of annoy me, having to do them. Let's start from the bottom. Let's go over to simple machines, that's a good simple one to start on. Machines do work. When you move an object, you do work. Work has 2 parts, the amount of effort you put into moving the object, and the distance over which you maintain the effort. If the load remains the same and you decrease the effort, then you must increase the distance over which you maintain that effort. Throughout history, people have tried to discover ways to reduce effort while accomplishing the same amount of work. Simple machines reduce the effort required to move objects. They do this by increasing the distance over which a smaller effort must be maintained. All simple machines operate on the principle that to reduce the amount of effort, you must increase the distance you maintain that effort. Almost all modern machines are combinations of 4 types of simple machines. Without the invention of these 4 simple machines, modern technology would not be possible. What was that? Either I just saw a giant mouse, or that was a kangaroo. These cybernetic beings must come in all shapes and sizes. Anyway, that little jumper sure made a mess. There's a little hopper. I guess he can't get down on his own. If I put things back together, maybe I can get him out of here and fix this exhibit at the same time. So let's see, what does he have to say? Bleep bloop. This exhibit requires more than a little analysis. As you can see, the cybernetic kangaroo from the natural history exhibit has displaced the simple machine setup. My sensors tell me he is stranded on a shelf in the last room. My calculations tell me that there's a possible solution to this dilemma. If you arrange them correctly, you have enough parts to create a series of simple machines that will enable you to free the kangaroo at the same time you restore the exhibit. An inclined plane is the simplest of simple machines. A ramp is one type of inclined plane. It requires less effort to lift an object with an inclined plane than to lift the same object straight up. This is because the object moves a greater distance along the sloping plane. The more gradual the slope, the easier it is to move the object. A pendulum is a suspended weight. If this pendulum is swung, it moves back and forth through its arc until the forces of friction and gravity stop it, or it hits another object, exerting a force on the object. So let's take a look here. We've got a big ol' selection of things. Another classic Museum Madness puzzle. So we'll put that there. It's funny, it plays the first sound effect in the series, but not any of the rest. So there we go. Must be something over the probably the emulation, because I checked and that seems to be the only issue. So if we just whack it, boing, there it goes, bonk. We'll play around with the settings here. Whee! Whoop! And it's set up so that it'll just hit the thing and roll back, so it resets every time. It's a pretty cool little setup there. A lever is a simple machine used to lift things. When a board or stick is laid across a small object called a fulcrum, pulling or pushing on the long end of the lever allows you to move or lift objects that would otherwise be too heavy. So, same thing here. We'll look at these things. So, we've got all these funny looking shapes. Stick that on there. Here we go. So we'll go back to the first room. Let's play around a little bit more with this. I believe you can go at like one setting up higher, and it just does things like this. Bonk. It rolls back down. fun just playing with every setting, seeing the difference that it makes. And I believe it's setting 2 that we want. Boing! And we watch it go off. Oh wait. We've got to go one more time. We watch it go flying, and then it hits the fulcrum and knocks over that, which bounces back off. And into this next room. The wheel and axle is a simple machine that allows you to move heavy objects. Because the edge of the wheel moves a greater distance than with the axle, with each revolution, the axle exerts more force and so can lift objects that could not otherwise be moved. Wheels with teeth, called cogs, can be used to turn other wheels to form complex arrangements. So we got this thing here. Got all the wheel and axles. So put this here. Oh, it's wigging out a bit. There we go, okay. Now these I haven't quite figured out. Is that it? Alright, now we got some. There it is. Alright, now finally set that somewhere on here. There it is. So now we'll watch it again. Just because I like watching them in each state of the progress. Goes flying off, then it hits the lever, and there's that. The water starts it moving. Moves slowly across. And then nothing happens in here, just because it wouldn't be good. Pulleys make it easy to lift heavy loads. A pulley is a set of wheels attached to a support and a rope that runs through all the wheels. When one end of the rope is pulled a certain distance, it lifts the object attached to the other end a smaller distance, but with less effort than would otherwise be necessary. The more pulleys in the system, the less effort required, but the greater the distance the rope must be pulled. So, you'll see so many of these oh, that one got attached on its own. I do wish that clunk worked more than just the first time, though, because I like that sort of like feedback on the how everything works. But that should be it. So we'll just watch one more time, set the pendulum going. This is one of the shorter ones, I believe. There's quite a few that are a bit longer. Take a while to do. Bonk. And in he goes. And jumps away. That little guy sure seems squared. I hope he'll head back to his home cyborg land. I better get back to the main hall and see if anything else has escaped. For now, this exhibit is quiet. Not a creature is stirring, not even a kangaroo. Glad we were able to get the little fella down. Even though he's a Cyrup kangaroo, I think he was scared all the way up on that shelf. I'm not sure that Cyrups have feelings. I will search my database if you would like. That won't be necessary. I would rather think that we saved him. Speaking of saving things, we should get back to the main hall and see what has to be done next. One thing is for sure, feelings or no feelings, Cyrup sure know how to keep this place jumping. We load back up. I think actually I'll just do 1 hall per video. Even though these American Revolution ones are going to be really long. I'm just going to do it this way. That way I can have like the Computer Hall, Space Hall, American History Hall, Natural Studies Hall, and the, I guess this is just like world history. Because it's like world civilizations. So anyway, we'll go on to energy technology next. Energy makes things happen. Although you cannot see or touch it directly, it flows from one place to another and can be stored. Energy comes in many forms, and it can change from one form to another. As technological advances have made better use of energy, they have provided improved ways to do work. Few things have affected the course of civilization more than the development of better sources of energy. Beep, beep. I have analyzed the situation in this exhibit and have some very bad news. The energy exhibit has been thrown completely out of balance by the computer virus. The ecological system in the first room has been so disrupted that the air and plants are almost completely polluted. You must fix the energy exhibits in the last 3 rooms, then go to the first room and use the control panel to set the balance among polluting and non-polluting sources of energy. When the balance is correct, the exhibit will return to life. Nearly all of Earth's energy comes from the sun. It arrives as electromagnetic radiation in the form of heat and light. The sun's rays make plants grow, water evaporate, and snow melt. These actions create the sources of energy that power our machines, light our cities, and heat our homes. You can see, like, this is pretty fucked. So we can't actually mess with the control boards right now. But right now we have, like, our nuclear energy is at 35%. Coal, or fossil fuel energy, is at 30%. Geothermal is at 5%. Wind at 10%. Solar, or just the sun itself, at 15%. And water energy, I guess, at 5%. So it's not really in a good place. And you can see it's all, like, super messed up. It looks bad. It's all polluted. Things are dead. So that's what our simulation looks like. So we have to go into those rooms and mess around with stuff. Today, most of our energy comes from 3 fossil fuels: coal, oil, and gas. They are called fossil fuels because they are formed from the remains of plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. Although these fuels provide most of our energy needs today, their supply is dwindling, and someday they will be exhausted. In addition, burning these fossil fuels can pollute the atmosphere and contribute to the destruction of the ozone layer. Coal is the fossilized remains of plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. Coal was first burned by the Romans. It became a major source of heating and industrial fuel in the 1600s. Today, few homes are heated with coal, but is still a major source of fuel for industry. Coal burning produces black smoke and other forms of pollution. Oil. The first oil well was drilled in Titusville, Pennsylvania in 1859. 9 years earlier, oil was distilled from coal to make paraffin. Oil has become an important source of fuel for the internal combustion engine, was developed in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Pollution from automobiles and other oil-burning engines is a major source of worldwide air pollution. And gas. Natural gas created from coal was first used in gas lighting in 1792. Today, most natural gas comes from underground pockets and is carried many miles in pipes. In addition to heating homes and powering electrical turbines, natural gas has many uses in industry. Although natural gas burns relatively cleanly, it is toxic if inhaled and can explode. So there's not much we can actually click on at this point in this room. But you can see, like, everything's being pumped out, all the rooms are kind of interconnected and are kind of being messed up. You can see you've got these just pounding out smoke, and we got these shitty cars. Like, that one's just idling right there. What a jerk. Also, this song is really good. It's like, it adds some bit of tension, because this is actually a pretty tense area. Oh wow, okay, that's one good thing about the sound effects being off. We'd have to listen to this the whole time we're in this room. It's pretty bad. Nuclear power is generated from the splitting of the uranium atom in a process called fission. When the atoms are split, they release a tremendous amount of energy. For example, 1 pound of coal can produce approximately 1 kilowatt hour of electricity, enough to run an average hairdryer for an hour. In comparison, 1 pound of uranium can produce approximately 3 million kilowatt per hour. Today, nuclear power accounts for about 17% of the world's power and 20% of the United States' power. That might be a little bit lower at this point now, just because the way we're doing things, but I don't know. This was from like 1994 or something. A nuclear power plant converts the energy released during the fission process into electricity. First, fuel rods containing uranium are lowered into a vessel called the reactor. Into the reactor core. In the core, parts of atoms are shot at the uranium atoms. Resulting collisions cause the atoms to split and release energy. The parts that split off collide with other atoms, causing them to split. This is known as a chain reaction. This chain reaction can be controlled by raising and lowering the fuel rods in the core. The energy given off by the splitting atoms heats a fluid, usually water, surrounding the core. This heated fluid is used to boil water that is kept in a separate container. The steam that results from boiling the water is used to turn a turbine that generates the electricity, when steam is cooled back into water, which is reused in the reactor. Nuclear power plants can be very expensive to build. A large part of the costs go to meeting safety and legal requirements. These expenses can be offset by the low cost of fuel to run the generating plants. The chief drawback to nuclear power is the radioactivity of the waste products and fuel. Uranium atoms release particles which damage cells, and these particles are released for thousands of years. Alright, so I just picked up a turbine, put that in my pocket, or in my backpack, I guess. It's funny because with the way that these actual like every power plant really generates steam power because everything is powered by steam, or everything, whatever you do, the goal is to get water to turn into steam, which runs turbines. So let's see, be able to go in there. So we put in the turbine. Now let's put the fuel rods back in. So we should be going up here. It should go up. We watch it go up. Looks like it was at 50,000 before. Now we should be back. It should get us back up to 100,000. But it's still like super dangerous. That takes care of the plant output problems. The gauge is back up to 100,000 volts. But I've only done half the job. Check out that radiation alarm. I must find the nuclear waste and store it in a safe place before it contaminates the whole museum. So we put on the suit. In we go. So there's the old fuel rods. We just go ahead and put those in there. Got to put them into the barrel. Then back out. Bloop bloop. The nuclear plant is functioning efficiently and safely. All waste materials have been safely stored. I have determined it is now safe to proceed with the other exhibits if necessary. So we've done this part. We solved the nuclear issue. But yeah, remember those fuel rods will be there for a long time. Ah yes, another classic puzzle. Beep boop. While most of today's energy needs are met by fossil or nuclear fuels, these sources of energy often pollute and are not renewable. Scientists have attacked these problems in two ways. They have invented devices that reduce the polluting effects of fossil fuels, and they are experimenting with non-polluting renewable energy sources. These new forms of energy from the sun, wind, waves, and the Earth's core may provide the clean sources of heat, light, and energy that are required in the 21st century. So yes, classic museum madness puzzle. We want to get all the things to look the same. Specifically, we want them to look like the wind power. So we just change them till all the vertical bits are the same. Oops, I messed up. Click too many times. And then we click each of them until they're all the same picture. Wind power. The power of the wind can be harnessed to produce electricity. Modern windmills are efficient, but only practical in locations with nearly constant winds. Solar power. Solar cells are made of thin layers of silicon. When light falls on the cell, electrons move from one layer to another, creating an electrical charge. So let's see. I believe solar power is the mostly white one. There we go. Whoops. Bloop, 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 bloop. There we go. Little solar cell. The heat from molten rocks deep below the Earth's surface can be tapped to produce steam that runs electric generators. Geothermal power has been used since 1904, but as yet it is only practical where there are natural steam vents in the Earth's surface. Let's see. Go. Yep. And once again, it's using heat to turn turbines. Oh, what's all these? A stack scrubber? We found this secret entrance here. Catalytic converter? Oh my. A pipe sealer? I'll take those. Interesting. Wonder what we do with these things that are found in this secret area. Wave and tidal power. 2/3 of the Earth is covered by oceans that produce waves and tides. Modern technologies develop methods of producing electric power from the motion of the oceans, but these sources of energy have yet to be perfected. So these, like the tidal power is cool, but yeah, we still haven't done much with that as far as I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but I don't know. It's something that's really cool. Bleep. So this is the last room in this area. I think we got them all now. Let me just make sure here. Yep, we got them all. So now we go back this way. We'll just keep on walking. And we get here to this big ol' mess. Alright, first thing we do, throw a catalytic converter into this piece of junk. The catalytic converter has helped reduce pollution from automobiles, but it cannot keep all the auto emissions out of the air we breathe. And I think now you see this stop idling, now we get like different cars driving by. Before it was all these like ugly Toyota Corollas from 1989. Next we throw in some type scrubber. New methods of sealing natural gas pipelines and storage tanks have reduced air pollution, but burning gas still releases carbon waste products into the air. Next, pipe sealer. The stack scrubber reduced pollution from coal-fired electrical plants. However, some harmful waste products are still released in the atmosphere, but you can see it makes a big difference. Now, I believe all we have to do is fix this thing. Yep, we can. So let's turn down this stuff. I believe once we turn these down all the way, turn these up more, let's see if that makes a difference there. Yeah. So everything looks a lot better once you turn everything down. And then nothing is said, they just move on back to the beginning. This is actually a lot shorter, or a lot less time than I thought I would have. I might be able to only do like 2 or 3. You know what? Let's do one more. Let's do the discovery of radio. I might need some batteries for the exhibit. I hope it will be alright if I borrow them from Mick. The invention of radio opened the door for global communication. People could now communicate and exchange information at the speed of light without having to be connected by miles of telegraph wires. The invention of radio was the result of the efforts of many people who expanded upon each other's ideas and discoveries. Speak to each of the four inventors first. I have heard about a form of energy that can move through the air without wires. I have heard that Maxwell, a Scottish scientist, has developed the energy in a book. Has described this energy in a book. I need Maxwell's book in order to complete my experiment. So we'll speak to the four guys first, and then we'll come back to the beginning and look at all the things. Burp, burp. Well, this guy, he doesn't look too good. Let's try a little something here. Yeah, there we go. Shine a little light in his face. I'm trying to invent a wireless telegraph, but my transmitter was destroyed in the power surge that knocked me out. Then we have this dude. Blah 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 blah. I can transmit clicks, but not voices. I have invented a device that I think will work using a diaphragm, but I need a magnet to make the diaphragm move when an electrical charge passes through it. So you can see each of these guys is just sort of missing one thing. They just need a thing in order to be able to complete their experiment, but they all need a thing from each of the other people, so everything becomes just sort of like interconnected, and it shows you how everything needs to be put together. I am trying to assemble a device that will send voices over airwaves. I will need a transmitter, but mine is damaged beyond repair. I will need something that converts voices to electrical signals, but I'm not sure what the device is. Well, hey, I just happen to have this fancy radio. Take a look at that. It is a very interesting device, but too small to be of any practical value. I would like a closer look, so why don't you borrow one of my books to occupy yourself and come back later? So let's see. We got Maxwell, interflow magnetic radiation. In 1864, James Maxwell developed the theory of electromagnetic waves. He suggested that electromagnetic radiation is all around us, and that waves come in different lengths. We could see some wavelengths as light. We feel others as heat. He suggested that some wavelengths could carry signals through the air without wires. Maxwell's book. So we go back to the first room, and then I'll open up the buttons that turn all the, or I'll look at the holo displays. So first off, who's this ding-dong? In the funky purple coat, and funky purple coat and pleated pants. Heinrich Hertz, a German physicist, discovered radio waves. He conducted an experiment in 1888 to show that electricity flowing through one circuit could cause a reaction in another circuit across the room that was not connected to the first. His experiment laid the foundation for the invention of radio and other forms of wireless transmission. So here you go, have a book. This is the book that I'm waiting for. So let's have a look at his experiment here. So we've got one of these bleep bloop puzzles. And I need to figure out where exactly everything needs to go. Put some stuff here. There we go. We'll put that there. And that one there. Use your hints of where the pieces go. Let's try that. Nope, that's not it. That goes there. There we go. So there's his experiment. Not really sure what it does still. I've never learned much about this dude. Can we take any of the things? I don't really know. Alright. We'll go on here and figure out what's going on with who this dude is. Guglielmo Marconi, an Italian inventor, became interested in the possibility of wireless telegraph transmission when he was a teenager. He conducted many experiments in his home. In 1894, when he was only 21 years old, Marconi created a transmitter capable of sending Morse code signals. His invention owed much to the work of James Maxwell and Heinrich Hertz, who pioneered the study of electromagnetic radiation. So let's look at his experiment. It's got a thing there. And here's some Morse code. And what's this? Oh, it's a smaller puzzle thing. Figure out what this thing is. That was dumb. Alright. There we go. There it is. Alright. A thing. I don't know what it is, but it is a thing. Well, let's see what's over here. This third room. Alexander Graham Bell invented the first telephone in 1876. It was the first device that enabled speech to be sent from one location to another. To make the telephone work, Bell had to create the first microphone. The microphone converted sound waves into electric signals that traveled along a wire to a receiver. A similar device in the receiver to reverse the process and change the signals back into sound waves. Bell's microphone would have the same effect on radio that it had on the telegraph. Alright, more puzzles. We'll go ahead and put together this lockbox thing. I don't know what this thing is. Partly because I haven't played this game in forever, partly because we don't really learn about that stuff in school, so most of my knowledge came from what this game tells me about these things. I think I need to be... I think these need to be just a little bit over bit. Yeah. There we go. So whatever this thing is, I mean, it just looks like a fancy box. It's probably missing a thing. So finally, let's go talk to this guy. You can only borrow one book and no more. Well, let's put Maxwell's book back. Let's take a look at this one. Edison. The phonograph. Thomas Edison is considered America's greatest inventor. While working on a new telegraph instrument, Edison noticed that the incoming signal causes a needle to vibrate and scratch a rotating drum. He developed this idea into the first phonograph capable of recording and reproducing the human voice. When Edison demonstrated his invention, the first words he spoke into it were, "Mary had a little lamb." I don't know if we actually need any of these other books, but they're interesting to look at. Morse telegraph. Samuel Morse was an inventor and scientist. He developed the idea that if electricity could travel along a wire, it might be capable of transmitting a signal from one place to another. Morse used this idea to invent the telegraph. Soon, telegraph lines crisscrossed the country, carrying messages in Morse code. I'll hold on to that, because the other guy's working on some sort of thing with Morse code. And who's this guy? Although Marconi is credited with inventing the radio, he was never able to transmit voices or music with his device. Marconi's radio was actually a wireless telegraph. In 1906, a Canadian immigrant to the US named Reginald Fessenden discovered how to send voices over radio waves. He made the first transmission on December 24th, 1906. The world has not been the same since. So alright, tell me what's going on with this dude. I have determined that the invention of radio is in danger of not taking place. The 4 inventors in this exhibit must share their devices to complete the invention. However, the computer virus has scrambled their experiments and their memories. You must help them straighten out their individual experiments and share their devices with one another. I will continue to process the remaining information. There are similarities between the data for this room and that of Hertz's room. I believe the 2 SciReps are working on similar problems and have similar needs. Fessenden will not be able to complete his radio experiments without devices from the other inventors. Alright. So what about Bell? This room is somewhat puzzling to my analysis. The Bell SciRep should be in another exhibit. He is credited with inventing the telephone, but I can find no connection between him and the invention of the radio. There must be some gap in the data that is preventing me from discovering why he is here. If you discover this information, I predict you will be able to restore this part of the exhibit. Okay, no information there. Remember, it's been years since I played this, so I kinda don't remember exactly what we need to do. The virus caused a power surge in the computer system in this room. The Marconi SciRep circuits were overloaded and he lost consciousness. There is a 90% probability he can be revived with some form of illumination. Alright, I already did that. I don't know, do I have to give him like, here, have a book? No, that didn't work. Batteries? Do I need batteries here? Give to him? Yep, I give them to him. That's right. So I take that. And do you have anything to say? There's nothing more to do in this location. Alright. Thanks, Hertz. You got a sweet get-up on. So what is the thing that I'm holding now? And who do I... that should answer who I give it to. The transmitter. Do I give you the transmitter? Yep, I give you the transmitter. You do something with the Morse code. I'm not sure exactly what it says. I could probably translate it. I have used my new code to translate the message. It says you will find a magnet in the drawer of the workbench. Take the magnet. It is a very useful electromagnetic device. I wonder if there is a future in this telegraphic communication. So what have we got now? We've got our transmitter and we have a magnet. I believe this guy needs a magnet?
Hello.
And we can take that now. So we've got a transmitter and a microphone. So as you can see, like, all these things just sort of connect together. I'll put your book back. And so have a transmitter. And have this microphone. And it gives back the radio. It's hard to believe that all of this will someday lead to rock and roll radio stations. Alright, I think I will stop it there for now. We got 3 done in this, in the computer hall. Maybe we should have done those other 3. We should have stopped and done that one next episode, and done the other 3 next time. So we'll go ahead and save. And we'll call that for now. I'm Jesse On. This is Museum Madness, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.